We have a very interesting discussion today, and it's my pleasure to welcome to this digital studio Luisa Mariotti, a known career consultant and coach, one of the mentors, speakers, and supporters of Bevel ON capacity building program. Luisa, welcome.
Hello, Inna. Thank you very much for inviting me today. It's a really pleasure to be here.
It's a great occasion for us to discuss in the very turbulent state of job market today, right? With everything that is happening, it's very interesting to discuss different points, and specifically, I would like to fix that around the interviewing process. For some people who are watching us now, that might be probably the dream process because not that many people are getting into that interview process but stuck in applications and sending messages, spontaneous emails, looking for the job, etc. Those who are getting to the interview, they have a very good set of advices and insights from you today because they are doing the mistakes, they're doing something well, somewhere they require improvement. And by knowing this, actually, this is the learning for them on how to prepare the interview for those people who are watching and having the interview next week, but also for those who are applying for the jobs. And actually, for them, the preparation part is equally important even at this stage, right? So I will start with my first question to you actually, because I mentioned that already. And you, as being the professional in the recruitment industry for many, many years, you know that, I'm sure. And I would be very curious. Tell us, what are the most common mistakes that the candidates are making in the job interviews?
Look, in my experience, I think that maybe the most common mistake is coming unprepared to an interview. And is a mistake, it's a big one. I think that preparation should cover 4 key points. The first one is the company. Before the interview, the candidate need to go on the website of the company, on the LinkedIn page, on the news, on Google, whenever he wants. But the candidate need to study the company, which is the mission, the value, the products, the project, and also the people. In fact, another key point is the recruiter. So before the interview, we need to visit the LinkedIn page, profile page of the recruiter or the recruiters, because sometimes they are more. Another key point in the preparation is to have a deep look on the job role, because we need to really study what the company is looking for. So we need to underline, to highlight all the experience that they are looking for. And the fourth key point is to rethinking your own experience. So you need to highlight in your mind the elements that match with these specific job requirements, because maybe you had a big experience, but for that specific interview, you need this, and this, and full stop. So preparation is really a key point. Unpreparation is a really common mistake. Another one could be, for example, the fact that candidates sometimes focus on what they want to say without really listening. And I think that is a mistake, because active listening is essential. I would like to quote a really well-known author and leadership expert, Stephen Covey. He says that most of people do not listen with the intent to understand, but they listen with the intent to reply. And this is really a point. If you listen, you can understand the question, because you can understand what the recruiter is really asking you, and what the role is about, because if he continues to match a point, you need to understand it. And also, listening is a good feedback, because you can understand how your conversation is going. For example, if the recruiter asks you twice or more the same question, maybe you need to switch on a light. I'm not clear. I need to repeat with other words, with another style of communication. If the recruiter stops you every time, maybe you are going too long. So it's a good feedback, the listening. And remember that communication is not only a verbal point, because we communicate also with our body, with our tone of voice, with our eye contact. So please look at face. And if there is more than a recruiter, look everyone. Okay, so remember also to speak and to listen with all your body. And last but not least, another mistake could be underestimate the importance of asking questions. Sometimes at the end of an interview, the recruiter could ask you, "Do you have a question?" And no, thank you is not the right answer, because that is the moment in which you can stand out and show your curiosity, motivation, engagement. So please prepare, coming back to the preparation, prepare some smart questions. Never about the salary, the smart working, or this stuff, but about the company, their projects, your future.
Mm. Very interesting, essential part, of course, the preparation. And when you mentioned ask questions, I was thinking, if the person literally researched plenty of insights about the company, probably this person has the perception that he or she knows everything about the company, right? And saying, no, thank you, there are no questions, is the wrong, because you expressed too much of confidence and assurance that you have everything, right? When the
Yes.
recruiter can give you additional insights about the company. I had the conversation with someone today who told me literally the same thing, that she was applying for the job, she got the interview, but when she came and seen again the ambience and start asking the questions, were not part of the interview process. Finally, she made the decision not to continue with that company. It's not the recruiter did it; she didn't want to continue with that company because she've seen that this is not the place where she would be fulfilled, right? But another question I have in this regards: imagine the person is already in the interview, and we are working with displaced talents, right? With the talented professionals, migrants, people in career transition, and they all ask me the same question: how should I communicate my skills and experience at my best? Where this soft line of giving too much or being not enough, right? When you're communicating the right set of skills, experience that really fit into the job that you're applying and being in the interview process.
Yes, for sure. If you listening, it's easier to understand if you are too much or too less, because you see the reaction of the interviewer. And I think that a very important aspect to try to give the best is to be clear and concrete, because as you told before, the recruiter maybe do not know the technicalities of the role. Maybe if it is an headhunter, maybe the recruiter doesn't know the sector very well in a deep way. So you need to be clear and help the recruiter to understand your career experience. And being concrete, that means that you need to give examples, because you know everything about your life, your career, your previous companies, for sure not the recruiter. So help him with examples. For example, I give you an example. You are talking, the recruiter is asking you about some of your managerial skill. You can't answer, I think to be really adaptable. Okay, what do you mean? It's nothing. You need to explain me what do you think adaptability is and what you demonstrate adaptability in your job role. So speaks by examples is really easier for the listener to understand.
Mm. Very good example. Yeah, and I love that expression about intention to listen to hear, but not to respond immediately to the interviewer. And understanding is a key. What would you say is that one brilliant preparation tip, advice you can give to the candidate that is going to pass the interview process, that that person feels confident on the interview?
Yes, confidence is really a big point. It's very important to arrive with the right confidence of yourselves. And if I can, I have two tips. The first one is entering the door of the company, having in mind that an interview is not an exam. It is a two-way conversation, a moment of exchange for both parties. So you are here to be examined, but you are here to examine. So it's important to have in mind this double conversation, okay? And I think that the most powerful confident booster is again the preparation. If before the interview you had rethink about all your experience, it could be really helpful during the interview. You need to have in mind to write whatever you prefer, but you really need to highlight the 5, 10 points you want to highlight during the interview. You need to also think before going to the meeting about maybe difficult questions because the interviewer can ask you difficult question. I don't know, are you too old for that job? Did you have some failure? Or which is your weakness? And a lot of other numbers of difficult questions. If you think before going to the interview about all this stuff, it could be really, really, really easier to express yourself and your capabilities. So I think that really the communication, the preparation allows you to be a good interviewer.
Can we somehow, just the question came to my mind, can we somehow master the question, what are your weaknesses?
As we told before, I think that the most important thing is to be a real person. Okay, you are not a machine, you are not a robot, you are a real person. So you need to say something that is real in a smart way. So it could be really a catastrophe because it's not the right point. But if you think about something that is a weakness for you, you could express it. Try to explain also how you are working on that particular weaknesses. So don't say something that is a totally positive things in the bad suits, okay? Because when you exit, I can't remember you. If you have an honest conversation, I can remember you. I don't want a machine. I want a human being in my company or in my client company. And if you are able to speak about also bad things and not only the positive one, I can trust you.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm thinking now, that the interview process as such is so desirable for many of people who are looking for the job, but not that many are getting to that point because probably there are more candidates than the jobs at this point of time. But we know the market is complicated. But already preparing mentally and emotionally to the interview for it happens, dream it, and then it will come as the reality. and using your tips and insights on how actually to make it outstanding by being authentic is a beautiful process, right? We all learn on our weaknesses, we all learn on the journeys we are going through, and then when we rise to the right moment with the right place, with the right person, but with the right attitude, that might change a lot of things, right? Luisa,
Yes.
thank you so much for your insights. Guys who is watching us, again, if you need help in terms of interview preparation, job coaching, career coaching, connect Luisa here in social media and ask questions. She will be able to help you. And if you would like to work with her in our capacity building program that starts in October, you are most welcome. You can also apply, and you will see the links next to this video. We would be happy to see you, one of the participants. And there, Luisa has a lot of things and tips and trainings to tell you and to prepare you in your career strategy, but also in your job search. Lida, thank you so much for being with me on this interview today and sharing your knowledge and insight with people who are watching us. Very much appreciated.
Thank you to you, Inna, and to Bevel ON.